Spring is here. Take a look right there. I know it's a little cloudy today, but you know what? It feels like a good temperature, right? We're already getting an early dose of some really good weather days. Do I need to remind you that it was almost like 75 degrees the other day? Warmer weather means more fun outdoors, especially for your pets. But beware, because those rising temperatures that fluctuate so quickly, well, they can present some health concerns like heat stroke. Yes, even now. Veterinarians say it can happen in a matter of minutes. So Dr. Kelly Gebhardt with Happy Tails Veterinary Emergency Clinic is here with us today, answering all of your pet safety questions. So this is what we want to do. We're going to go over a whole bunch of stuff, but we want you to text in your questions. The number right there on the corner of your screen, that's 336-379-5775. And when you text in your question, we'll get you that answer as we go. All right, let's first, though, let's dig into that topic of heat stroke. I know we've had a couple of cool days, but we've also had a couple of days where it was 80 degrees.
Yeah, we actually have already had our first heat stroke of the season. Just last week, I think it was, when that temperature was in the 80s. A dog was outside playing and was just exercising too much during that hot weather without acclimating, and came in with a temperature of almost 109. High normal temperature for a dog is 102.5. When you get over 105, that's very, very worrisome. Heat stroke is 106 or higher, and when you get up to 108, 109, that can potentially be fatal. And it was because the unexpected amount of heat on that one day, without kind of working up into exercising during hot days, it was just too much for that particular dog. And it was a really sad situation. So it's really important to be thinking about acclimating your pets as this warm weather approaches.
All right, let's talk. Can we talk about the, bringing our pets with us, because so many people, especially in the wintertime, they bring their pets with them because, it feels good outside and the pet wants to put their little nose out the window and all that other kind of jazz. So how dangerous is it for a pet to be left in the car? What are the temperatures that we need to be looking for?
Oh, it is so important not to take your pets in the car during hot weather, even when it's really cold, because cold weather, it can be too much for their little bodies too. But when in hot weather, the temperatures can increase dramatically within minutes. Even during a 75-degree, 80-degree day, when your car is parked in the sun, it can reach 100, 120 degrees within a very short period of time, 10 or 15 minutes. And cracking the window doesn't help. Even when you're parked in the shade during a hot day, the car gets too hot. We're talking about 100 degrees, and it would be like us sitting in the car in our winter coats with thermal underwear on and a hat and gloves, no ability to sweat. That would be what it would be like us going into a sauna with all that on, and that's what it's like for our dogs. They can't cool properly, and it's too hot. Even cracking the window doesn't help, like I mentioned. So growing up, we took our dogs in the car, and now I know better. It's too hot for them. So it's just best to just leave them at home and walk them during the cool times of day, during early morning, early night, do special things with them like that so they can feel included. But when it's hot during the day, don't take them in the car. It's just not safe for them.
Yeah, don't take them in the car and leave them. Like if you're going to be riding around, that's fine, but don't take them in the car and run into the store and that kind of thing. It's interesting that cracking the window while you're in the store, that is not enough.
Not enough. It doesn't get the airflow, and it just gets so hot. So you could think, if you wouldn't leave your baby in the car in that condition, you can't leave your pet in the car in that condition, because it's the same thing. It gets too hot too fast.
All right, so let's talk about the signs of heat stroke in pets, because you just said that you had a heat stroke case just in the last 2 weeks or so. So what should we be looking for?
Right. So if they're excessively panting, really bright red gums, sometimes it's weakness and collapse, just non-responsiveness, profuse drooling. Sometimes we see vomiting, diarrhea, weakness, and collapse due to the excessive heat in the body. If you think that your pet is suffering heat stroke, get to a veterinarian immediately, because studies have shown that pets that receive proper treatment within the first 90 minutes have a much higher survival rate than those that are treated after that 90-minute window. If you think your pet has suffered heat stroke, quickly cool them down with cool water, not cold water. Cold water can cause other problems. So cool water, quick cool down with cool water, get them in the car, get to a veterinarian, and get that proper treatment within 90 minutes.
Okay, and so I'm sure that there are certain breeds maybe that are more susceptible than others to heat stroke?
Yeah, old dogs, young dogs, very young dogs, brachycephalic breeds, the ones with the very short faces, they have a hard time circulating air, which air exchange is one of the main ways dogs cool their bodies, along with panting. And any dog with cardiac or pulmonary disease may be at higher risk at two, and also overweight dogs. Ooh, overweight dogs can't handle the heat. So those are the ones that are at higher risk. And if your dog has a very dark coat, like my dog Wyatt, he's got a very dark coat, he cannot handle the heat. Oh my goodness, we go for a short walk in the sun and he's done. He gets really hot. So dark coated dogs, whether they're black or dark brown or brindle, they can't handle the heat. They absorb all that solar energy and get really hot really fast.
Okay, so you've got a, like my chocolate lab, that kind of thing. You've got a black lab, that kind of thing. So that really does play in.
Absolutely. Just like when you wear a dark shirt out when you're walking in the sun versus a white shirt, you get a lot hotter. Same thing with dogs. So dogs with dark fur they get a lot hotter a lot faster.
Okay, we've got a question already, and we want to make sure that you know that you can text us in your question, that number there at the bottom of the screen. This person's asking, is it bad to put ice cubes in your dog's water when it's really hot?
You know, I say no. There was for a while there a concern about ice water potentially contributing to bloat. But I say I don't really worry about that much. So I think it's not a big deal.
All right, and like my lab likes ice cubes just to eat the ice cubes. Is that okay?
I think it's fine. Yeah.
Okay, all right. The next question is, what is it when your dog is panting very hard at night? And so we were talking about how they were panting very hard during the day and it could be heat stroke, but if they're panting very hard at night?
I wonder, so there's some important details there. In my mind, I immediately think this is an old dog that's panting hard at night. And if it is an older dog that's panting hard at night, it may be going through some of those old dog changes related to like canine cognitive dysfunction or doggy dementia. It may be that they're losing their senses, sight or hearing, and starting to feel anxious at night. Just like people who get sundowners, older dogs can get the canine cognitive dysfunction or dementia that happens also during those, as the light decreases, their vision is not as good anymore. They can't see things, they get confused and anxious, and they're panting. That could be part of it. I'm wondering about, is it seasonal? Panting, well, if it would be seasonal, they wouldn't be panting at night. They'd be panting all the time. I'm thinking pollen and allergies. But heart disease is also something that I start to think about. But more than anything, if it's really just at night, it makes me think about anxiety-related panting due to age-related changes in the body.
All right, so you need to go see your vet if your dog is having that issue. All right, let's talk really quickly about the exercising in hot months. So how do we do that and get them acclimated to do that? And is it safe for them to exercise in hot months?
Right. Especially down here where it's really hot, I say limit it to the cooler times of day. Early morning or late evening. Don't do it during the middle of the day because it only takes a few minutes for them to get too hot too fast in this hot North Carolina heat, right? Running them for extended distances, playing ball in the heat, those just don't do well with doggy physiology during the hot times of day. Again, their bodies are covered in hair. They don't cool as easily as we do because our bodies get covered in sweat, and that helps us evaporate and cool off. Doggies don't do the same thing. So you want to slowly increase your exercise as the weather warms up. Exercise during the cool times of day, which is morning and evening. Avoid the hot times of day. And if your dog has a really thick hair coat like a husky, then really be conscious of overdoing it during those hot times of day.
Okay. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We want to remind you that you can text in your questions. We've got a few of them here, but we want to be able to answer your questions in the next two segments. 336-379-5775. We'll be right back.